Hi guys, and welcome to my tutorial and showcase for Epic Loot. Now Epic Loot is a plugin that allows you to add additional drops to your loot containers, potential drops from crafting and from killing NPCs. Basically the items gained are going to be modified versions of existing items, such as a transporter's hoodie or a transporter's pants or a miner's pants or miner's hide boots. Most items, most wearable or usable items in the game can be enhanced, and will give you certain buffs. So to see the information about the buffs, you can see this little icon next to your HUD, which can be repositioned, which I'll show in just a moment. But when you inspect your currently worn equipment, you'll see each of the items actually appearing at the bottom here with different colors depending on their tier. So by default there are 4 different tiers. There's S tier, A tier, B tier, and C tier. You can rename the tier types in the UI as well, but that's what it is by default. And you can also change the colors as well if you want to go with a different color scheme for your tiers. But basically what the tiers mean is when the item is rolled, an S tier has a higher low point and a higher high point that the modifier can hit. So for example, the miner's pants, I think by default can roll between 20 to 25%, whereas an A tier miner's piece can only roll between 17 and 22. So it does give it a higher chance when it is first created, and that represents the tier obviously. The modifier is dependent on the buff. As you can see here, we've got the miner's buff, which is mining yield. And this is going to increase our mining yield by 21%. And you can see here what the set bonuses are for this particular piece. Over here we'll show you the set bonuses that we're currently benefiting from, and over here is going to be the set bonuses that we can benefit from depending on how many pieces we have equipped. So the whole point of this plugin is to basically where similar multiple pieces that have the same set bonus, i.e. miners, transporters, foragers, what have you, and by doing so you get given a set bonus. So you can see with the foragers set bonus you get a standard modifier, plus you also get a bonus modifier if you wear 2 or more pieces. You get a higher bonus modifier if you wear 4 or more pieces, and you get a even higher bonus modifier if you wear 6 or more pieces, whereas the miners set by default has the bonus modifier. It also benefits from instant mining, which gives you a chance to instantly mine out a node. Smelting, which gives you a chance to receive smelted ore when mining. And Miner's Luck, which gives you access to a special loot table whenever you mine out a node. It's a 5% chance by default. Now all these values and even the actual bonuses themselves can be completely adjusted. So if you want to add instant mining onto the foragers tank top for whatever reason under the 4-piece bonus, you can. It's completely configurable. You can create these sets entirely from the ground up yourself. Over here you'll see the actual equipped benefits. So under the equipment inspection you'll see we've got mining yield, which is as a result of all of our mining gear, and then you'll also see foragers yield, which is the result of our tank top. So you can see here we're not getting any set bonuses for the foragers gear because we don't have enough of it equipped, but we are getting pretty good set bonuses for our mining gear. As you can see here, we've got instant mining at 20%, we've got smelting at 30%, miner's luck at 5%, and miner's bonus is an additional 65%, which is already reflected in here. So this is our final value. This is kind of what we're going to benefit from. So whenever we mine a stone node, we're going to get 145% extra resources as a result of this. Now this will work with other plugins such as skill tree. So if you obviously have multiple plugins affecting the same item, this is just going to add an extra 145% from the base value that's being mined, as will skill tree and other plugins. Now over here we have two buttons. We have the settings button. Now this will be expanded as I come up with more settings, but by default we can change the HUD icon. We can reposition it using this little interface here. Just simply click and just move it to your desired position, and then close that and reopen it when you're done. And we also have the information button here. This shows us the different set types that are available. So we can see here we've got miners, lumberjacks, skinners, farmers, foragers, fishermen, and all these other sort of set bonuses that we can get access to. And I think by default there are 20 or 21 included out of the box. And as I come up with more, I'll be adding onto it, much like I have with my other plugins. So that's it pretty much. So I'll just spawn a couple of crates, show you how that kind of functions. So when you open up a crate, there's a chance that these will be added to the crate. So you can see we've just found a medic's snow jacket. And on the side here is how the items can persist through, being deleted and recreated. So the plugin will take the information here, so you can see it's a B grade and our value is 0.01, which represents 1%. So if I bring this over here and equip it, you'll see here, let me just close that and equip it. Oh, sorry. It's a skin, it's not appearing as a skinned item in here. Medic Snow Jacket, you'll see we have a B tier with a +1 modifier, and these are the potential bonuses. So if we have 6 pieces of medic's equipment equipped, now bear in mind weapons don't count towards the equipped bonus, only towards the total modifiers. We'll have team heal, so we share 30% of heals that we receive with nearby teammates, and health shot. So heal teammates for the damage that you do for 50% of the damage that would have been done. So for example, if I shoot someone with the bolt action and it would have done 50 damage to them, it would actually heal them for 25 if they're on my team. So yeah, there's some cool little different perks like that, and they're all from crates. You can also obtain them from different crafting methods as well. So when you're crafting items in game using the default crafting system, there's a chance that you can actually obtain a copy of the item, or the item that you receive is actually going to be a set or an epic version of it. So it'll roll the random number and the random value for the item that you create. So for example, if you create a burlap chest piece, there's a chance that you will actually receive a enhanced burlap chest piece. And the value is configurable, and it can also be turned off. So if you don't want your players receiving that, then again, fully configurable. And then the last way to get items are through scientists. So if you kill a scientist, they will have a chance of spawning have a chance of spawning, these usually explode. There we go. Have a chance of actually spawning pieces as well. So you can see here we've got a fabricator's gas mask. This one here gives us a 1% chance of fabricating an additional item while crafting. And if we have 4 pieces, we get a bonus 5% chance. So yeah, lots of different perks. Some are very situationally good, some are just all round good. You'll definitely find a meta starts to form in your server, and the beauty is you can adjust the values as required. So some of these values, when working with other plugins such as Skill Tree, might be a bit overkill, so you can scale back the values significantly to really make those two work together. And that is it, guys. Nice and short one. There are some chat commands real quick I will show you, and this is so admins can actually generate an item specifically. So if you want to generate a specific item, you can go gen item, which is the chat command. So you can just do that, and that's just going to generate a random item for us. So you can see we just got a fisherman's water gun, which is completely fucking useless. But if you want to generate a specific item, so for example we want to generate a pair of pants, you can go /gen item and then pants, and it's going to generate us random pants with a random tier. If we want to generate, say, transporters pants, so we're pants and then transporters, we've just received some transporters pants with a random tier. If we want to set everything, so gen item, pants, transporters, and then set it as an S tier, you can see here we just received an S tier version of a transporters pants, which is a 10% versus a 6%. And you can see here the skins are changing. And one of the benefits of this plugin is that you can actually reskin items without actually affecting it. So if I put these boots on, you can see these items are still persisting, and I can skin them entirely. It doesn't matter what skin I have on them, and, you know, they will still function. So, you know, it's a really good way to kind of get your items up. Yeah, to make give yourself a good look with your items. Some items will take a little while to cache. This uses Rust's new image sort of caching. So some may require restarts when obtaining the skinned items. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure how it works. I just know that it does work. So yeah, so you can skin items, and they will work with Hunger Games with events that actually destroy and recreate items, such as Hunger Games and Scuba Arena and Skirmish and all those other event-based plugins that take items away from you. So because it uses the name to identify the item when it's equipped, yeah, it persists, and all these buffs persist for as long as the wielder or the player has the items equipped and being used. For example, a pickaxe, minus pickaxe will only give the mining bonus when it's actually there, whereas you can see it didn't actually give it there. So it'll only give the bonus when it's actually wielded and being used. So you can see things like a fisherman's water gun isn't really going to be useful because you need to hold a fishing rod in your hand in order to fish. So yeah, there are some items that will be, are basically in there on purpose to be duds. But you can whitelist specific items, or you can blacklist specific items so that they don't, so that they won't produce an item of that type. So let's move to the config, and I'll show you how the configuration set works. Alright, so we're in the configuration settings for Epic Loot. Now this is just the one I just downloaded from my server, which is fairly close to vanilla. So you can see we have some general settings up here, so automatically add missing sets from the default sets. So basically, if for whatever reason I update the plugin and you don't have certain sets within your config, this will automatically add those sets using the key information. Maximum distance that the team heal bonus set bonus will share healing with. This is in standard sort of units of measurement within Rust, so you can play with that value. That's for the medic's bonus, or the set bonus, sorry. Crafting info, should players have a chance of their crafting items becoming enhanced. So if you don't want crafting items to become enhanced, you can set that to false. And here's the percentage of each time a player successfully crafts an item. This is the percentage chance that they will become enchanted. So if you want it to be, by default it's 1%, if you want it to be 0.25%, you can. Lift the craftable items that cannot be enhanced. So if you want to add crafted items that are not able to be enhanced, you can put an array in here and separate, put the item short names in here and separate them using commas. Make sure they're in between quotation signs when you do. Button information, so this is the default button offset information, so you can see here it'll appear in this location-ish. I think I've modified it a little bit. This is the coordinates that represent that, so you can just adjust these coordinates to meet your size and location requirements. And this is the icon path, so it uses Rust's default icons, so you'll need to use Rust's default icons at this point. I might add image library in the future, but I haven't really wanted to add image library yet, so because this would literally be the only thing it would be there for. PvP critical damage information, so this is for the PvP crit bonus. So this is the minimum multiplier and the maximum multiplier. So you can see here it's 0.1 and 0.3, which represents 10% and 30%. So think of 1.0 as the whole number, 1 as 100%, and this is the minimum and maximum values it can roll. Horse information, so this is for the jockey's perk. If you want just the run speed to be adjusted, set that to true and set everything else to false. Whereas if you want everything to be adjusted, leave it all as true. Basically it means that when a player gets on a horse with the jockey's perk, they will the run speed, the trot speed, the walk speed, and the turn speed will all be increased, not just the run speed. Scrap information for the scavenger's buff, so minimum extra scrap that a player should receive when the scavenger's buff triggers, which is 1, and then the maximum that they should receive when it triggers, which is 3. This is the tiers color. You can see here it just uses hex colors, so you just simply adjust these to your liking, and that will be what displays in the UI. This is the loot crate information. This is how often, this is what the percentage chance that when you open a loot crate for the first time, you will find items in there. So you can see here, crate normal, I've purposely amended it to 75 for the purposes of the demo, but they're usually around sort of 1%. Normals are about 2%, elites are about 5%. I made underwaters about 12% by default, just to kind of give a bit more reason for actually diving. But yeah, these are definitely not the default values, but these just simply mean that when the first player opens a crate up, the chance of them obtaining that specific, of getting an item from the Epic Loot plugin, it will basically roll out of 100 for that chance. But only one per crate, so if player A opens the crate up and rolls the chance, player B doesn't get the opportunity to roll the chance on that crate. They have to find a crate that hasn't been opened. Same thing for the corpse loot, so you can see here we've got scientist heavy NPCs, cargo. Again, these aren't default, these are amended for testing. But these are kind of defaults. They're all kind of a 1% chance when opening a corpse of a scientist up using the same logic as up here. Lists of items that cannot be enhanced. So these are ones that kind of slip through the cracks of my sort of generic filter. So Geiger counters, flares, smoke grenades, explosive, like timed explosives, RF detonators, that sort of things. Things that you don't generally need to be enhanced. A black list of items that will not be refunded when using the assembler buff. So things like gunpowder, sulfur, and explosives and sulfur. Attractive settings, set bonus settings. So this is for the attractive perk. This is basically when a player hits a barrel or shoots a barrel or what have you, it automatically puts the loot in their inventory. By default, it doesn't require melee weapons, so they can shoot it with a gun. And the distance by default is no distance. So if you do want to have a distance, you need to set that in Rust meters, and it will prevent them from doing it outside that. If they destroy the thing from outside that distance, it just drops to the ground like normal. These are mission rewards. So basically, when a player finishes a default Rust mission, they have a chance of obtaining a item as a reward. This is the percentage chance that they'll actually receive an item in general. And then these are the weight values for each item. So they're much more likely to receive a fisherman's item than they are a scavenger or forager's for completing a mission, completing a fishing mission from fishing A or fishing B. Bandits, outpost, stables. So they're all different. Tried to kind of keep them relatively to their flavor, but yeah, again, you can adjust this to whatever you want. So if you want to put wood, lumberjacks in there, you can put lumberjacks in there at a higher rate. Drop table for miners. Miners like, woodcutters like, and skinners like. So this is the set bonuses for having the access to that special luck table. These are the items within that within that table for each of the table types. So skinners, miners, and woodcutters. Yeah, you can add to this table or remove things or adjust values. It's up to you. You can also add custom named items, custom skinned items in there as well. Enhancement information. So this is the actual, nuts and bolts of the enhancement. So you can see here we have the miners set bonus. By default, it's enabled, which means it will be able to drop and it will function. Item blacklist by default is null. So if you do want to add items to this item blacklist, which means that these particular items or the item short names in here cannot be enhanced with the miners perk. An example of that would be a salvaged box. You can add an array of them in here. Otherwise, if you only want certain items to be enabled with the miners perk, you can put them in here, and it's only going to roll from the whitelist. So if the whitelist is null, it'll check to see if the blacklist has anything in it. If the blacklist doesn't have anything in it, it's just going to roll a random item from our filtered items. Otherwise, if it does have if items do exist in the blacklist, it's going to roll from our filtered items and exclude anything from the blacklist. The tier information, so you can see here S, A, B, C. Yep, so you can just simply adjust the weight values. These are simply for drops. So the chance weight of an item when being created. This is the chance that it's going to be an S tier. This is the chance that it's going to be an A tier. This is the chance for a B tier, and this is the chance for a C tier. This uses weighted sort of chance system. So what it does is it adds all of these numbers up together, and then rolls a number between 0 and the total sum of these, and then depending on where it lands, it enhances with it picks that one. And then these are the minimum and maximum values for that represent minors for these particular tiers. So you can see there's a little bit of overlap, so 0.15 to 0.25, 0.1 to 0.17. So it is possible for you to get an A tier that is better than an S tier, but the S tier just simply has a better chance. If you've ever played No Man's Sky, you'll understand how that system works. And this is the set information. So the key is simply the number of pieces required. I wouldn't go more than 7 because you can't wear more than 7, so it would become unattainable. So 2, 4, and 6 is usually how I've done it, but again, do it to your liking. If you want to add an extra set bonus in there for 3, for instance, I will say change that to 3, and then we want to add that as a 0.30 multiplier or whatever. You can do that. You can also add permissions as well. So if you want players to have access to certain permissions when they have certain set bonuses in here, you can actually add permissions in there. And these permissions are again as a string, so as a string array. So you'll need to have the square brackets and then separate each of them with commas and make sure they're all between your quotation marks. But yeah, you can assign permissions, and when the player loses the set bonus, i.e. they take pieces off or swap pieces out, they lose access to the perms as well. So that is the enhancement information. So you can see you've got miners, lumberjacks, skinners, one for each type. And then under here we have a list of procedurally generated skins. So these skins are just simply random ones picked from the workshop each time the configuration is created. So once you see your numbers will definitely look different to mine, but once they're in there, they don't change. You can obviously remove them, so if you don't want skinned items in there, you can just delete them and replace it with a 0. Otherwise, you can put your own skins in there if you want different skin types to drop for each of these items. And that is pretty much it for the configuration, guys. Pretty straightforward. If you do have any suggestions on different perks, buffs, and what have you, definitely open to suggestions. Otherwise, yeah, feedback is appreciated. Hope you guys enjoy.